Eh bien, bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, on va parler des pronoms personnels. Hello everybody, today we're going to talk about the personal pronouns. Personal pronouns. So, pronom personnel. So, what is a pronom? Pronom, it replaces a noun. Nom en français. More exactly, it replaces a group of words that can be seen as a noun. But it could also replace a preposition. So sometimes it's called a substitute instead. Substitute. Okay, so there are many categories of pronouns. So you have pronom personnel, which I'm going to talk about today. You have pronom personnel, you have pronom possessif. Like le mien, mine. Le mien, le tien, le sien, etc. So possessif, pronom réfléchi. Like me, te, se, in. Like je me lave, tu te laves, il se lave. So it's like reflexive verbs. Reflexive verb in French form pronominal. So pronom réfléchi, pronom démonstratif. Pronom démonstratif. Like ceci, cela. And there's more. We'll continue here. You have pronom interrogatif. Like qui, quoi, etc. Pronom indéfini. Pronom indéfini, like quelqu'un, plusieurs, tous, stuff like that. And you also have pronom relatif. Qui, que, etc. So now, today we're only talking about those. Pronom personnel. And those depend on the person, but they also depend on the function in the sentence. So let's do like a table that has all the cases. So this is taken from Becherel grammar. So I'm reproducing their table. So I'm gonna put première personne, and here, so première personne, deuxième personne, troisième personne. So this is singular, S for singular, singulier. Same thing here, 1, 2, 3, and this is gonna be pluriel. So sing and plural. Okay, so let's see if I can do straight lines. Okay, so here and then here I'm gonna do 3 columns depending on the function. So sujet, if the function in the sentence is sujet, COD, complément d'objet direct, et COI, complément objet indirect. So complément d'objet direct is when you answer the question qui or quoi, and COI, de qui, de quoi, à qui, à quoi, etc. But I assume you already know this. Complément objet direct, complément objet indirect. So let's do this one, this first column. La première personne, it's basically, if you do like the conjugaison, like the conjugations, that's what you see. So you see je, tu, il, elle, and you can even add on. So on is neutral. Okay, on is neutral, but it's always referring to a person. So il, elle, on. And then au pluriel, nous, vous, il. Yeah, always put a dot on the I. Il, elle. Okay? So on is only singular. So je, tu, il, nous, vous, il. When you do conjugation, that's what you do. Je parle, tu parles, il parle, nous parlons, vous parlez, il parle. So COD. So if the function in the sentence, dans la phrase, is COD, complément objet direct, the form is going to change, of course. So it's going to be me, te, le, la, en, nous, that doesn't change, vous, les. Okay, so now if the function is COI, complément objet indirect, you still have me, te, and here you have lui. So le, la, here, if I go back to here, le and la, here. Le is for masculine and la is for feminine. Here you have lui, which works for both. So lui, en, et I, le Y, le Y, still nous, vous, leur, en, I. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna focus on this, the third person singular, COD, third person plural, but probably I'm just gonna focus mostly on the singular, and same thing here. I'm gonna focus on those. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's talk about third person singular and function COD. So if you go back to the table, the choices are le, la, en. So let's look at this one. Example. For instance, je vois Marc. I see Marc. So Marc is third person, it's singular, and it's complément objet direct. Je vois qui, je vois Marc. So this is COD. So if you want to use a pronoun instead of Marc, you say je le vois. Notice that the pronoun is put before the verb. So je le vois. Okay, so now let's look at, I'm going to put it here, là. Again, je vois Marie. So that's third person. That's a third person singular, COD. So this one Marc was masculine, so you use le. This one Marie is feminine, so you use la. So je la vois. So here is le and here is la. Okay, I'm gonna talk about en a little bit later, but let's move directly to the third person plural COD. So it's les, and to me it should also be en as well. So if I go back to the table, here I'm gonna add en. Maybe that's crazy what I'm doing, but I'll explain why. So I'm just gonna look at this one for now. So les, example, je vois Marc et Marie. So those two are third person, pluriel, and it's COD. And it's COD, the function is COD. So you're going to use les. Je les vois. Okay? So now let's look at en. Okay, so let's do another page. So third person, and I'm not gonna say singular or plural. I'm just plural. I'm just gonna say COD. When do you use en? When do you use en? When the noun is preceded by article des, un ou du. Ok, des, un ou du. So, des article indéfini pluriel, article indéfini pluriel, article indéfini singulier, et du is called, it's an article partitif. I'll give an example. One for each. Je vois des voitures. I see cars, some cars. Je vois des voitures. So here, this is COD. So this is COD of voir, and the article is des. So if you want to use a pronoun to replace des voitures, you have to use Jean voit. Okay, so here you have an apostrophe, so the E is gone because here there's a vowel. So j'en vois. So en refers to des voitures. Okay. Now, if you say je mange du riz, so I eat some rice. So du article partitif. Ok, article partitif, like je mange du pain, je mange du riz. So if you want to use pronoun, j'en mange. J'en mange. Okay. Let's continue, next page. There's a little bit of there's some subtlety here. You can also je vois, instead of saying je vois des voitures, je vois plusieurs voitures. Je vois plusieurs voitures becomes j'en vois. But here, because plusieurs is an adjective that indicates a quantity, you have to keep it. So j'en vois plusieurs. J'en vois plusieurs. J'en vois plusieurs. Okay? So you have to keep it. You cannot just say j'en vois. J'en vois plusieurs. Same thing if you have je vois 6 voitures. Okay, 6. So it's an adjective that indicates how many cars, voitures, you are seeing. So you have to repeat it. J'en vois 6. You have to repeat it. Okay? Okay, so what's left is okay, I missed one. So we've done that one, des, we've done du, but I haven't done this one, un. So let's continue. So je vois une voiture. So une is article indéfini, feminine. So I see one car. Okay, so un, une. J'en vois. And this indicates a quantity, so you have to put it also here. You cannot leave it. J'en vois une. So if I go back, of course, here, un. Should probably say un, une. So this is masculine, this is feminine form. Okay? So let's go back to that table to see what else we need to look at. So we've covered this guy and we've covered that guy. So now we have to look at COI, complément objet indirect, at the third person. Lui en I, leur en I. Okay, so now let's talk about third person singular, and COI, complément objet indirect. So it's gonna be lui en I. Lui en I. So let's try an example. So lui, so for instance, je parle à ma mère. I speak to my mother. So this whole thing here is COI, it's third person, it's singular. So if you want to use a pronoun, if you want to replace it by a pronoun, je lui parle. So lui is either masculine or feminine. It doesn't change. Masculin, féminin. Masculin, féminin. Doesn't change. Je lui parle. Je lui parle. So let's get rid of the third person plural, COI, which is leur en I. Leur en I. So let's do, so here I did this one, lui. Let's do leur. So je parle à mes cousins. I speak to my cousins. So it's plural, complément objet indirect. So if you want to replace à mes cousins by a pronoun, you say je leur parle. Okay, so now let's talk about en and I. So when do you use en I? So it's still third person, and it's COI. When do you use en? When do you use en? It's when you have a verb with préposition de. So when you have a verb that uses préposition de, for instance, je parle de mon père. Je parle de mon père. I speak about my father. So you would say je parle de mon père. Jean parle. Except that this is not correct. This is not correct French. You can you hear it in spoken French, but this is a mistake. You cannot use en I in this context, third person COE for persons. You can only use it for objects, thoughts, whatever, but not a person. So you would never say that. You would say je parle de lui. You would say je parle de lui. Okay? Now, if the phrase is je parle de mon pays, I speak about my country. So now this is not a person. So then here you use Jean parle. Actually, you have to. There's no other choice. Jean parle. Okay? So it's because you have that preposition here that you have to use this. But remember, this is okay because this is not a person. Okay? So if it's a person, don't use en. I still have to talk. So that was en. So that was en. And now we need to talk about I. Okay, so I. So again, it's third person function COE. When do you use I? When do you use I? It's when the verb uses préposition a. Okay, so en, it's when the verb uses preposition de, et I is when the verb uses preposition a. So there's an opposition between the two. For instance, okay, so let's try il pense à sa mère. So à sa mère, COE, third person, and here you have the preposition. Perfect. So you would think il y pense. Again, this is wrong. Do not use I in this context when the COE is a person. So you would say il pense à elle. However, if it's a thing or a thought, il pense à son pays. He thinks about his country. Then, okay, you say il y pense. Okay, il y pense. So it's the same thing as en. Don't use it if the COE is a person. Don't use it. Only when it's a thing or a thought or whatever. Okay, so en. We are not done with those guys. En I, mais also may also be used as complément circonstanciel de lieu. So when is en used as complément circonstanciel de lieu? when it indicates provenance, where it's coming from, provenance. So you would use it when the verb is like venir de, sortir de. The important part is this guy, the preposition de. So it indicates provenance, where it's coming from. So for instance, je viens du cinéma. So du, so you could also have du, du, which is a contraction of de, le. So it's also okay. Je viens du cinéma. J'en viens. Ok, j'en viens. Je viens du cinéma, j'en viens. Okay, so now you have donc I. When is I used as complément circonstanciel de lieu? I'm getting worse and worse. When is I used as complément circonstanciel de lieu? So it's when it indicates direction, where it's going, direction. It indicates direction. So verbs like aller à, to go to, partir pour, to leave for, partir pour, se rendre à. So whenever you see that, those kinds of preposition, you know that you use I as a CC de lieu. So for instance, je vais au bureau. I go to the office. So O, of course, is a contraction of alle, so it counts. So je vais is a first person singular present of aller. So I go to the office. If you want to use a pronoun, j'y vais. Okay? So to sum it up, for en I can be used as a pronom personnel, but they can also be used as a complément circonstanciel de lieu. Okay, as pronom complément circonstanciel de lieu. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about, and I got to do another table. It's called the forme pleine. Forme pleine du pronom personnel. So I'm gonna do so first person singular, second third, and then plural, pluriel, okay. It's gonna be moi, toi, lui for masculine, elle féminine, nous, vous, eux, so masculine, feminine, masculine, feminine. So when do you use that form pleine? Emphasis. Moi, je suis grand. So me, I am tall. So this is emphasis. You put emphasis on je. And whenever it's used after preposition. So, for instance, so je viens avec toi, je viens avec eux, etc., etc. Okay, so after preposition you have to use that form pleine. I think I'm going to stop here because I'm starting to get a headache. As you can see and hear, the French language has quite a bit of subtleties that many French people actually don't know about. And of course, as a French learner, you are faced with all that stuff, and I understand that it's sometimes, actually often, quite a pain to deal with. So I'm gonna stop here. That's pretty much all I wanted to say about the pronom personnel. So if you like this kind of content, please comment, like, subscribe, and I'll make more.